Well, here to talk a little bit on the topic, will LTE be the killer app? But before I get to that question, I think we need to take a little step back and look at what we are, where we are as an industry, what we've done so far, etc., etc. And this is a question I'm going to address in due course, and if I didn't, please feel free to interrupt me and say, hey, you haven't answered the question, the need for IPX. Like Christian, I'll be presenting now, I'll be moderating, I'll be in the end panel, so I'll be out there, so plenty of time to ask questions. But we came quite far. This is not a picture of my son, but it could be my son as a new user. My son is 3 years old and he loves my phone, and actually I think he understands my phone better than I do. I find new apps on my phone on a daily basis, so he figured out a way to my passport. I'm a bit afraid that he will, with the new iPhone, copy my fingerprint and put it on there so he can download whatever he wants. But this is, I'm not joking, this is reality. And I can tell you a little anecdote about it. When my mom had a phone, I gave her a basic phone, and she couldn't change the ringtone. And my other son is 6 years old. He couldn't even read at that time, or 5 years old, he couldn't even read. And it took him about 5 minutes to figure out how to change the ringtone. See, we grew up with this stuff, but he's like into it. So we have to adapt still. To new usage. The left picture is a trial that we did in Sweden where you can actually go to the front desk of a hotel and instead of getting a key, which you always lose, at least I do, they put the key on your phone. You can go to the door of the hotel, you can open up the door with your phone. A trial they did in London where you can actually pay with your phone, which is quite normal actually nowadays. And this is in Kenya where you can buy a ticket using your phone with M-Pesa, which I think is pretty impressive. If you look back at it, again, 8 years ago, we were so happy with our Nokia, which is a brand that is now Microsoft. HTC, same stuff. I read this morning in the paper that it's going to be Samsung in a little while. So there's an increased demand for bandwidth. This is what we see as international carrier. There's an increased demand for bandwidth, and it doesn't stop. It will not stop. It will go on forever. And we see that this is fueled by three trends. High speeds, of course, multimedia devices, and new bandwidth-hungry applications. If you look at the high speeds, we launched 4G in Oslo, I think in 2009. 2012, 62 million subscribers using LTE. Anticipation 2017, 920 million. That's pretty impressive. 62 million subscribers, it's only domestic. Yes, we've seen some numbers in the press about people telling, hey, we launched LTE Roaming, but it's really tiny, fragmented press releases we've seen. There's not really a mass adoption of roaming yet in LTE. Global superphone segment. Well, actually, this is the Galaxy 3 and the iPhone 5. But it's pretty impressive if you look at the new iPhone 5, the chip they put in there. The chipset of that iPhone 5 is more powerful than the entire processing power in the space shuttle. That's on your phone. 2, an internet minute. And many of you think that international carrier, TeliaSonera international carrier, this is their core business, IP transit. It is. This is what we do. This is something that we're really good at. But this is done in a minute. This is what has been transferred over the public internet in just 1 minute. I think it's impressive. 6 million Facebook views in a minute. 1.3 million video views. I think it's pretty impressive, and it doesn't stop. It will not stop. So I thought, how does this relate to roaming, to the needs of a mobile operator? So I called the IAM6. Luckily, I'm Dutch, they're Dutch. Makes life a lot easier. So how does this reflect this whole trend of increasing bandwidth in roaming? And they showed me this slide on peering. And Isabel showed the decreased amounts in mobile data pricing on a wholesale level. And I know that we as an industry not necessarily agree with Nelly Smith-Cruz. But it's pretty impressive what happened after the last decrease in price. It spiked, and yes, you can argue, it's 800 gigs. It's not that much, but it's a start. And this is, and I know we talked a lot about hockey sticks in telecoms, but this is a true hockey stick. And it will not stop. So these three trends we see lead to a more fundamental change, that what we call within our team or in our company, Anywherization. People want to use their phone anytime, any place, anywhere. And they wanted to use it as they use it at home. They don't want to come home after they've been out on another country and find an invoice of 5,000 euros by their MNO. That's something they don't like. What they do expect is the same service, the same quality, the same speed. I live close to the German border. And you know, in Germany you can drive as fast as you can, which I do when I'm in Germany. And it's really awkward to come back to Holland and drive 200 kilometers an hour on the Autobahn, come into Holland and suddenly have to drive 100 again. And the funny thing is, Dutch police knows this, so they're always at the border waiting for you because you just go straight over the border. And this is what happens. If you're used to LTE, you don't want to fall back to 2G. You don't even want to fall back to 3G because it's not giving you the speed. And it's not for us. I mean, let's face it, all of us grew up without internet. We got adapted to internet. We grew up with 64K connections. Hell, the first GPRS connection I sold to a mobile operator was 128K. And we thought that was wow. And that's only 8 years ago. Now we sell gig ports to mobile operators. So we grew up with slower speeds. But according to my son, I'm a dinosaur. I'm an incumbent. I mean, the next generation, they want to have their speed. They don't accept anything less. They don't accept lesser speed, they don't accept lesser quality. I can give you another nice example. This is in 2005 when Pope Benedict was elected. You see like 1 or 2 smartphones in the audience. They didn't even know what to do with it. And this is, what, 8 years later? They were all streaming it on YouTube, putting it on YouTube, streaming it to the family. Look, I'm at the square. Actually, I was in Rome when he was elected, because we had a meeting with, I think it was the I3 Forum. And I couldn't get a taxi because all the taxi drivers were gathering and watching on their iPads and actually looking at the election of the Pope. And this is amazing. This is just 8 years. Just imagine what will happen in another 8 years from now. And again, like I told you, I'm a dinosaur. At least my son thinks I'm a dinosaur. I like Pink Floyd, right? So yeah, I'm a dinosaur. So Roger Waters was giving a concert in Amsterdam, in the Amsterdam Arena. So this is the wall being built. When I went to a concert 10 years ago, they would make an announcement, oh, they strip search you when you enter. If you had a camera with you, they would take the camera and give you a receipt. And if you were lucky, you get your camera back, if you were lucky. But if you make a picture, they kick you out of the stadium. Now they made an announcement saying, you can use whatever you want, but please do not use a flash because it kills the projections on the screen. So this is what happens. And I took this photo with my phone. But this is what happens. People are just filming it. Not that they want to put it on YouTube, but they want to watch it again. So even the behavior of people are changing. Even with concerts. They don't care if you film it anymore. They know if the quality will be so-so. So they'll put it out on high definition and use our IPX network to stream it. So this Anywherization leads to what we call an empowered world, a mobile-powered world. 7 billion mobiles, subscriptions, more than there are people. 61% owns a mobile phone. I cannot imagine living without a mobile phone anymore. And I grew up without one. 2/3 of the people uses a voice and 2 data apps a day. So it's not on there just to flip, but they're actually being used by people. And it grows 1.5 times faster. And I think this is stunning because out of the 7 billion mobiles that we have that have an internet connection, compared to fixed line, it's only 2.7 billion. So 2.7 billion have a fixed line connection. And 7 billion mobile. But it changes behavior. And this is, I have to admit, this is all me. When we drafted these slides, they looked at me. 84% keep their phone within 3 meters. I panic if I can't find my phone. And I know a lot of you in this audience will panic as well. You'll be checking your phone every 6.5 minutes. Honestly. Your son, his phone is glued to his hand. Your daughter will probably send 250 text messages just in an evening. And when the time she's to bed and you check her phone, she has another 150 unread. And this is true, I'm not kidding. My son had 250 text messages on WhatsApp unread within half an hour. Because he's in some kind of a group thing, it's just normal behavior. They can type without even looking. Average time to read an SMS, 4 minutes. And this is what happens in our company. People don't leave voicemails anymore. Actually, people have a voicemail, say, don't leave a voicemail, send me a text message. Because I'll respond sooner to a text message than to an email. Because an email takes me 48 hours, because I got tons of emails to answer. And this is, I love this one, 50% switches on their phone the moment they touch the ground. The captain hasn't even said anything, you see people in there switching on the mobile phone, you can hear it all around you. And I think it's hilarious. And 73% panics if their phone is gone. And I'm one of them. I really panic if I can't find my phone. And I know, so there is an emotional connection to your phone. And like I said, all this Anywherization, this increased need for speed, for bandwidth, for quality, for connection with your device, leads for us to a question, okay, we need to increase speeds for the mobile phone, which is LTE. So, is LTE then the killer app for IPX? I don't think so. I think it's a catalyst for IPX. I think the need and the efforts that mobile operators put in their networks now to create LTE is something that helps us, putting IPX as a shining example, put it forward for the mobile operators. To say, hey, if you want to have LTE roaming, you should consider this, IPX. Because it is beneficial for you, because it can deliver the quality you're looking for in a roaming environment. Because this is our dogma, quality must move forward because people won't get back. They don't take lesser quality for granted. They want more, and they want it now, and they don't want to wait till tomorrow. This is the next generation. If you want quality, you have to deliver it now. Don't tell me that I have to wait for tomorrow. So what compels customers to IPX? LTE roaming, yes, it will be a catalyst. And I think we'll see many, many more LTE roaming announcements being made. There have been a couple, but as far as what we've seen, the focus of an MNO on LTE is domestic. Why? I mean, there's several issues. Handset capability, frequency changes, frequency differences. We even had it between Denmark and Sweden. The frequency used in Denmark is not the same frequency as used in Sweden, so a Danish customer with an iPhone is not supported in Sweden, which is odd. With the new release of the iPhone it is, but it's a bit odd. So it's something that we as an industry had to address. So we need new handsets. We need handsets that are capable of supporting multiple frequencies. That is going to be solved. And the next step is then we need to establish roaming with the MNOs. Focusing on domestic is a great thing, but like I said, if you have LTE back home, why are you pushed on 2G if you're in Germany? You should be on LTE. HD services. Again, this is, well, I always compare it with Netflix. You can have a great app on your iPad, and Netflix has HD and normal. I think they call it SD or HD, whatever. And if you watch a series in SD, you see the difference. And my son, picky as he is, he always chooses the HD, which basically eats all the bandwidth in our Wi-Fi. But he's demanding. And so do we. And I know we are used to lesser quality because we grew up with 128K. We know what it is. Sometimes we find it a bit disturbing if we don't have the quality for a little bit, but it's not that big of a deal. But for the younger generation, it is big of a deal. So, conclusions. I say what made GSM great was that it worked from the beginning. There was interoperability, and there was roaming. There was a lot of effort being put in by the mobile operators to create this environment. Because we know that customer wants ubiquitous services. They want interoperability. So the next step is for us, I think, as an industry, to convince mobile operators, you have to launch LTE roaming as soon as possible. You have to give your customers the same experience abroad as they have back home. Own your own, as we say. We think if you're serious about quality, there's only one way forward. You have to have your own network. And interoperability is key. I mean, I can't control the world. I'd love to, but I can't. So peering is key. Others have customers. I need to peer with others just to get destinations out to my customers. If my mobile operator in Sweden wants to have roaming with Tuvalu, don't expect me to get it, but I would love to peer with a customer that has an interconnect with a Tuvalu mobile operator. More is more. We just didn't start. LTE is just one. There will be many, many more services to come, and the future network should support these services. Customer service. I know it's a very open door kind of thing, but it's been neglected a lot of times. And I think this last one is key for us. The end user market, not the enterprise market, but the end users are driving a way forward. If the enterprise market was driving it, BlackBerry would still be the best company in the world. And they're not. They're being surpassed by everyone else, like Nokia. So that leaves us to the last thing, last bullet, and I think I only have like 1 minute left, which is, what is IPX? When we did all this research on IPX and all involvement, what did we actually want to achieve with IPX? We came through a lot of things. Very unclear definitions, what IPX is, what does it do, what does it support. So we thought that it would be a good idea to gather it all and to create a website that says, very simple, what is IPX? So this is not necessarily our view, but this is basically a summary of analysts, competitors, clients, etc., to explain in a very simple way what we think, or what they think, or we all think, what is IPX? What can it do? Because there's a lot of smoke and mirrors out there. There's a lot of, I have 200 IPX customers. What service do they use? Because IPX is just, in our view, just a tunnel. But it will be great to know what service they have on an IPX and how it's supported. So we try to demystify what IPX is. And you can find it all on whatisipx.com. And it will be played out outside right after my presentation, which is over now. Thank you very much.